thanks for joining me for another making of video this week. We are having, I'm afraid, the last song that will be part of this series by Maria Grieber. You know, Maria Grieber is our very dear Maria Joaquina de la Portilla Torres. Her full, complete name. Uh, she, as we have mentioned in the past, she started using Maria Grieber as a result of getting married to Mr. Grieber himself. And I think that one of the first, well, I am going to be making several comments throughout today's video, and there is one thing in particular that I would like to mention, and that has to do with why is it that very late, if we could consider late, why is it that very late in this series we are talking about Júrame, the most well known, the most famous song by Maria Grieber? Why not at the beginning? And there is a very simple reason for that, and the reason is that it is so famous that it really wasn't necessary to introduce it at the very early beginning of it. I think that it was more important to learn to love Maria Grieber rather than just, you know, taking the easy thing here, which was to just go ahead with the song that everybody knows and maybe leave everything else aside. So I thought that it was better to do it the other way around, which is we start with lesser known songs, still known but lesser known songs, and at the end we continue with the most famous song, which is Júrame. And it is also a very good time to maybe put Maria Grieber's image on the screen. I mean, a photo of her. Of course, this photo has a small edition on it. You can see the logo of the Instituto Mexicano de la Radio in the lower right corner. And we have, of course, her name. And this post was made on the commemoration of her decease. She died on 15th of December of 1951. Of course, there were many people who were or we are still very sad. She had some major illnesses at the end of her life. Fortunately, as I also mentioned in the postcard, I am very happy to say and to share that Júrame is the song that made her worldwide famous. Well, a great help or a key player in this success was Mexican tenor Jose Mojica, who by some certain circumstances met Maria Grieber, and so Maria Grieber showed him her song. He loved it, and from that very moment, he took it, he sang it everywhere he went. So that's why Mr. Jose Mojica, who was very famous by then, if I remember well, by the end of the 1920s, early 1930s, it's when this success really starts getting of great importance. And as I was also telling you, I am very happy to say that fortunately, after having passed a good number of years in living in very hard conditions of poverty, she had to work a lot. It is also mentioned in her memories that she even had to sell her piano. I think I recalled you. I had mentioned that anecdote earlier in this series as well, and I think I shared with you that just imagine for a composer how hard it needs to be that you end up selling your instrument, the instrument that gives meaning to your life, the instrument that helps you create. You had to sell it, so she had to sell it while she was living in the US, provided that not enough money to cover all her expenses was available. And fortunately, the situation changed somehow after Júrame. And so I think it is enough with the talk. There are a couple of things that I would also like to mention you along the way when we start reviewing the lyrics of this song. I I'm really not sharing with you this time how is it that I fell in love with this song, because I have heard it, I don't know, not 1,000 times, but enough times to be unable to recall when was it that I heard it first. Though I think that I heard it on the radio. We have talked about it in the past as well. Mr. Jacobo Moret's radio program on the 970 AM Mexico City, in the 90s. And I am pretty sure that the first version that I heard was Julio Julian's. Julio Julian was a very famous tenor in Mexico. Had two of his sons, Julio and Conchita. Mainly Conchita, made an important career in Mexico, mainly in the 90s and the early 2000s. And also, Mr. Julio Julian filmed the life of Jose Mojica himself. Jose de Mojica's life himself is also very interesting. I am also bringing it back, or bringing it up, because just remember, or what I just mentioned, that it was Jose Mojica himself who provided this support to Maria Grieber for this extraordinary song to be as famous as to trigger, to launch her career. Okay, so having said that, it was the first time that I have heard it 1,000 times, and it is. I think that there is almost or no singer, no tenor, soprano, baritone, or mezzo who has not sung this very famous song in one of his presentations. That famous it has been. That also implies that there are too many versions, from my perspective, maybe way too many versions about this song. I think that I would like to insist on something that I have shared with you in the past, that one needs to be a lot more respectful in terms of what the composer actually wrote for the song. Um, Júrame, being a song so famous, is a song that there are so many versions, and there are way too many versions that run into excesses. There are too many things happening that Maria really never wrote, but that singers like to do it just because they can. For no other reason, there are many versions of this song around everywhere in the internet, and I have to say, from my perspective, that not many of them are of very good taste. So I was just saying too much show off, too many long notes, too many high notes, too many excesses, not respecting Maria Grieber's style. Not so happy. I'm happy that this song is so very famous. Not so happy that what has been happening around it everywhere now. And so, to start reviewing the song, one of the notes that I wanted to share with you, this song, written by Maria Grieber, is originally written for a female voice. And that's why the sex in which it is written is for a female to be singing it for her beloved one. If you noticed in the postcard that I recorded, I kept that in there. I have shared earlier that we are adults and we are able to understand that, even though, of course, a woman may fall in love for a man and a man for a woman. There are other cases where a man would fall in love for a man and a woman would fall in love for a woman. So one shouldn't do much of a scandal out of keeping the female tone in a song like this. So let's just grow up and mature. Okay, so what are we doing today? We are sharing one of a version sung by Rosa Maria Diez. We have also talked about Rosa Maria Diez an important soprano in Mexico, if I recall well, still a professor at the Conservatorio Nacional de Música. She teaches singing there, and she has a very nice voice, a very stable and good technique, and she's also a good interpreter as well. So we are from one of her concerts around 14 years ago, one of her presentations at the Palacio del Arzobispado. We are going to listen to her rendition of Júrame, and I will be making notes around the lyrics, the interpretation of it, and a couple of things that you will realize soon. Also, for that reason, you will notice that there is applause in the background, and this is how the song actually opens. There is, as I have mentioned also in the past, there is sometimes small changes in the wording of the songs. That has been the case not only of the sex of the singer, but also in the last phrase. So, but let's go for that. And says, todos dicen que es mentira que te quiero, porque nunca me habían visto enamorada. Yo te juro que yo misma no comprendo el por qué me fascina tu mirada. And that opening phrase, it's an explosion of passion. I will make a note shortly on that. But it says, well, everybody says that it is a lie that I love you. And why is it that they say that? They say it only because they say they have never seen me in love. And since they have never seen me in love, it must be a lie that I love you. But let me swear that I myself cannot understand how is it that I am so fascinated by your looks, by your eyes. So, todos dicen que es mentira que te quiero, porque nunca me habían visto enamorada. Yo te juro que yo misma no comprendo el por qué me fascina tu mirada. And I wanted to do that myself because that's one of the things that I don't like about the renditions, that there are so many around the world, that it is sung in such a lyrical style as if you were singing Puccini, as if you were singing some other composer. Todos dicen que es mentira que te quiero, porque nunca me habían visto enamorado. Yo te juro que yo mismo no comprendo. But Maria Rivers' style is more with that melody where you go ta da 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 ta da 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 da. If you follow that melody, if you follow that rhythm, you would understand that the melody is not as if you were singing Puccini. It is more Maria Rivers' style. Let's continue listening to Rosa Maria's. The second paragraph says, cuando estás cerca de mí y estás contento, no quisiera que de nadie te acordaras. Tengo celos hasta del pensamiento que pueda recordarte a otra mujer amada. And I was telling you that I wanted to make a note in here because I said in the first paragraph that it looks like a very passionate song. And there was an idea coming to my mind when I was working on preparing the content that I wanted to share with you this time. And it had to do with the fact that, of course, it has to be seen with the eyes of a composer of the past century, and it is describing a scene where, by the at least by the understanding of those years, that was true passion. Because if we see it with the eyes of today's, we would soon realize that it is the thing that is described in here. It is a very toxic relationship, which says, when you are close to me and you are so happy, I don't want you to think of anyone else. I don't want you to think of anyone else. So you just have to think about me. Because I feel so jealous of even the smallest thought that could bring you another person into your mind. What is it that it is describing? When you are with me and you are happy, I don't want to even have the slightest chance that you can think of anyone else. So, cuando estás cerca de mí y estás contento, no quisiera que de nadie te acordaras. Tengo celos hasta del pensamiento que pueda recordarte a otra mujer amada. Of course, when we say otra mujer amada instead of a otra persona amada, remember that some words have been changed because it is the version for a male, and a male has to say it differently and cannot say that you have another woman that loves you, right? So, and this is exactly now where we are going to listen for the first time to the most famous melody of this song, which is the first time she will say Júrame. Júrame. So promise me that even if lots of time goes by, you will never forget that special moment in which I met you. So not only I don't want you to think of anyone else, but I want you to keep for the rest of your life that moment that I met you. It goes with mírame, pues no hay nada más profundo. Personally, I have to tell you that this is one of the paragraphs that I like the most. Mírame, pues no hay nada más profundo ni más grande en este mundo que el cariño que te di. So, take a look at me. Well, there is nothing that could be much deeper than the love that I have for you. Pues no hay nada más profundo ni más grande en este mundo que el cariño que te di. Now it goes this is where singers like to go like very, very, very high in the notes or very, very, very long in the notes, which is not necessary because I think that the emotion itself is enough to convey the meaning of bésame con un beso enamorado como nadie me ha besado desde el día en que nací. So go ahead and kiss me. Kiss me with a kiss of such love as no one else has kissed me since the day I was born. So just imagine, or if you can picture yourself in this explosion of passion and emotion that Maria Grieber shares with us. Bésame con un beso enamorado como nadie me ha besado desde el día en que nací. Con un beso nadie me ha besado desde el día en que nací. So you have to love me until hasta la locura, till madness, and that way you will realize of the bitterness that I am suffering about you. You know, love causes pain, causes bitterness, and this is what the lover is describing now. So as I was telling you, just imagine this explosion. Quiéreme hasta la locura y así sabrás la amargura que estoy sufriendo por ti. At this point in time, also the voice of the singer has been very high, so very high, as you may have already realized or noticed. Quiéreme, quiéreme hasta la locura. And this is exactly where there are way too many excesses, because now the singer keeps it as high as he can reach it, and for as long as his lungs provide support, which I think is way too much. So, quiéreme hasta la locura y así sabrás la amargura que estoy sufriendo por ti. This song ends with the repetition of the phrases that I have shared with you before. Con un beso enamorado como nadie me ha besado desde el día en que nací. Quiéreme, quiéreme hasta la locura. Y así sabrás la amargura que estoy sufriendo. So, with that expression of quiéreme hasta la locura y así sabrás la amargura que estoy sufriendo por ti, I would like to thank everybody for joining me for this postcard, and of course our greatest appreciation and recognition to Maria Griver for having created such a masterpiece. Thank you very much, and I will be seeing you soon.